Welcome, everybody. So glad you are here. Thank you for making this a priority in your day. Whether you're joining us live, Sarah Joy, or catching the replay, you made a great decision, a very powerful decision to be here. And I'm grateful you did that. Because today is stepping into a higher level of value, income, and identity. This is not just another webinar. This is a space where we shift how you see yourself, how you show up, and ultimately how you get paid. So, right now, minimize any distractions that you might have. Make sure you've got some water with you to keep hydrated because, as I always say, it's important to be hydrated so that your brain is taking in the information as best it can. So, over the next 30 minutes, we're going to challenge old patterns and elevate your standards and give you tools you can immediately use. And if you fully engage, this won't be information, it will be transformation. And I can guarantee that. So let's get it going here. So what I'd like to do now is while you're sitting in your seat is put your arms in the air. We're gonna so I was going to say in a moment is emotion equals motion. So we're going to get some motion going. So put your arms up in the air, take a deep breath in and bring them down and breathe out. So we're going to do that 10 times. So 1, 2, 2, 3. Do it fast. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's really important to keep the breath going and your body moving. It actually makes a difference in, again, locking in your emotional state. And it really adds more confidence. One of the things that causes lack of confidence is a lack of oxygen. It's just amazing. So while you're sitting there or wherever you're watching this replay, make sure your feet are on the ground, your shoulders are back, and your head is up. And that is what we call the power pose, and that matters. So because today is not just about pricing, it's about identity, I'd like you to say this with me out loud. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Again, louder. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I can hear that. Okay. So I want you to see yourself. So actually close your eyes. I'd like you to see yourself, um, a vision of yourself, where where you felt fully valued. Obviously in the past, a time where you just felt fully yourself and valued. The version of you who walks into a conversation and knows, doesn't hope to be chosen, but expects it. Whether you're quoting, presenting, closing, and rolling, picture yourself as certain. You are chosen. You are paid. This version of you that you're seeing doesn't chase, people choose you. So take another deep breath in and feel what that felt like to be in that moment again, that certainty. Excellent. Now open your eyes. And as I said, emotion is created by motion. So when you saw yourself in that version, you were creating motion and elevating your emotion. So you were elevating your emotion, your income, and I'd like you to write this one down because I think it's a gem, is emotion is created by motion, and your income will always mirror your emotional certainty. Your income will always mirror your emotional certainty. And even if you notice past moments in your business where you felt certain you achieved what you wanted, you can look back and see that it was a definite correlation to your emotional state, your emotional certainty. So stay here. Let's stay right in this state because most people don't have a pricing problem. I know you all came here thinking we're going to talk pricing. It's really a state problem. It's an emotional state problem. And when your emotional state drops, your standards drop. And when your standards drop, your income follows. So let's talk about what's really been driving your pricing. Um, it could be fear, again, uncertainty, fear of rejection, fear of someone saying no, hearing that no, fear of not being good enough, all of those things, that go on in nanoseconds in our head. So what do? They lower the price and we justify it and we call it a strategy. But it's not a strategy. That's great, Sarah Joy. Keep keep hydrating. It's actually self-protection. And high performers don't price from fear, they price from transformation. They understand they are not selling time. This is a big one. They are not selling time, they are selling outcomes. Let me ask you something. Who has ever lowered their price just to be liked? So, have you ever done that, Sarah Joy?
Yes, yes. I've lowered my price because I was asked, sometimes nicely, sometimes not nicely.
Uh-huh. And what if you had not agreed to that price decrease? What might have
I
happened?
could lose the client, I could have them go somewhere else.
And how did that affect your let's say your certainty or your identity?
It does make me feel less valued. I mean, there's certain instances where there's a good reason. Um,
Hmm.
in tourism, I have to be competitive. But in terms
Right,
of, the, somebody asking to undercut what I've already given them, that feels like they value my time and my expertise less.
right. It and that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good. And we've all done that. We've all done that. And that is really where it's an absolute must to anchor in that emotional state of certainty. And that's going to end today. So repeat after me. I no longer price from fear.
I no longer price from fear.
I price from my impact.
I price from my impact.
I price from certainty.
I price from certainty.
And I price my value.
And I price my value.
Okay, again, we're going to lock this one in. I price from impact,
I price from impact,
certainty,
certainty,
and value.
and value.
And this is exactly what we go deeper into actually inside my momentum mastery coaching, where we retrain how you think, sell, and receive. So you're finally, matching your real value with what you're pricing and how you're working with your clients. I mean, that's really the bottom line. So fear has been running the show. What do you replace it with? You anchor in your authentic pricing by who you are, your natural and powerful self. And there are three C's to do that. There's three things that drive pricing. We sort of touched on them actually already. The first one is clarity. The second one is confidence. And the third one is congruency. So the first, clarity, is confusion lowers prices. That's just the way it is. If you're not clear in your head, in your heart, in your gut, your price lowers. Clarity raises them. If you cannot clearly articulate your value, you will always default to discounting. From what you've said, Sarah Joy, I can hear that you know your value and you think you've already communicated it to the client or the prospect, and yet they are somehow they didn't get that. And so it's really important to let that client know and be able to articulate that value, not once, not twice. Sometimes it can take 3 or 4 times. And it's not about bragging, it's about how you communicate it. And it's so important because otherwise, we always default to discounting, and the client defaults to discounting. Their job is to get the best price, and your job is to get the best price. So, unfortunately, it's like coming together as partners, really. So clarity means you know exactly who you help, you know the problem you solve, and what transformation you deliver. So those three things in clarity are really important: is who you help. I can't stress that. I mean, it's like if you think of the people that you that are ideal clients for you. If you're swimming in a pool of people, there's 100 people in that pool, and none of them are your ideal client, but you're swimming there, you'll never be able to get that client. But when you swim in the pool that has all your ideal clients, well, then you can help them, you can solve their problems, and that's where you deliver transformation. So once you're clear on what it is you're offering, something powerful happens. Actually, you stop second guessing. And that leads to the second C. The second C is confidence. You state what sells in your own words, your emotional state is high. People are not just buying your offer, they're actually buying your certainty. That's a really important thing. When you're in a conversation with someone, I hate to make this in terms of win lose, but the person that actually controls the conversation is the person with the most certainty. It happens every single time, and it's great. Today, go out and when you're in a conversation, just notice, even if it's just with a friend and you're talking, the person who seems to manage or control that conversation is the person who has the most certainty. And that's what your clients are buying from you, is that certainty. So let me ask you, if you were unstoppable, if you knew without a doubt you could not fail, this is a fun exercise. What would you charge? Now, Sarah, I know your product, tourism, you're not, your pricing is based on what your raw materials are, what
Hmm.
prices you get. But just, wave a magic wand.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's an interesting topic because to date we haven't ever charged for our time. We haven't put a monetary, I mean,
Mm. Yeah,
yes, we have commission that we earn, and we have a bit of margin so that we are never losing money. We need
right.
to earn both the commission, and we can't lose money. We need to pay for our website and all the
All those
maintenance
expenses.
stuff. But
Yeah,
then, we haven't said, oh, well, it's $500 to build an itinerary, for example.
right.
And I've never said that. And I could, I
So
theoretically.
listen to the way you're even saying that.
Hmm.
Like, I could, there's a level of confidence
Hmm.
that would so if you charged the next, and I'm not suggesting you do this because it's your business, but let's say the next quote you did, you put
Hmm.
in for your time. You let's say you had a roster of, just like a car repair shop, or I don't know, whoever has a menu of pricing. Even a restaurant, they have a menu of pricing.
Hmm.
What would that feel like when you add that in because you know your value? How would that feel to you?
It would feel good. I would worry that I would lose people.
Okay,
Well, no,
take the
no,
fear.
no. Okay, okay.
uh,
But
that's
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
there
yeah.
are people who can't pay extra.
Well, okay. Well,
And maybe they're,
that's another webinar, looking
yeah,
for the right ideal client,
sure.
and I understand that, Sarah Joy. You want to come in budget and for your clients and do the best job you can. And maybe that's something to discuss.
Sure.
Who's your ideal client? Who are you promoting to? Yeah, that's interesting. Well, anyway, so that number of 500 for your time to make a tour plan, you know,
Custom itinerary.
a,
Hmm.
right, a custom itinerary. So that's your number. That's the number, and it's probably closer to the truth than what you're charging now. So, um, but here's the thing, as we just discussed, clarity and confidence aren't always enough because you can feel strong in the moment when you're making
Hmm.
those prices and still undercharge. It's something deeper is off. And
Hmm.
that third piece is congruent. And that's more or less what you and I were just talking about. The price must match your mission, not your fear. The price must match your mission. When you discount your price, you train people to discount your value. When you hold your standard, you train people to rise to it.
Hmm.
So when you discount your price, you are training people. When you build that, you are training people to rise with you to that pricing. Pricing is not just a number. It's really interesting. This is another gem I love. It's an identity signal. Like, who are you? How long have you been in this business? What have you been doing? What are the testimonials you've gotten? What are all of those things that impact they don't impact your service because you give the best service you can, but they impact your confidence and
Hmm.
credibility. And once your pricing is aligned, you can just unlock something even bigger. And it's interesting. You'll see some new opportunities come your way because real wealth is not just about what you charge. It's about how many times you get paid. So how many times do your clients come back to you over and over again? I know you work with colleges, I think, and so
Hmm.
how many semesters do they come back to you and with their classes? So there is leverage that comes in because effort alone will cap your income. It really think about it. A lot of the groups that I speak to are actually voice professionals and they get paid once. Or
Hmm.
you can license and get paid repeatedly. Um, if you're in network marketing, you can sell or you can build a team and earn residual income. If you're in
Hmm.
real estate, you can transact. That's one transaction, or you can create cash flow. You can set up a system where you are not selling just one house a year, you're selling 26 houses a year. So when your income works, even when you don't, this is where you really are making the most of your abilities. And this is where most people hit a ceiling because it's not that they don't lack talent, it's because they're doing everything alone. And once you own your value, the next level is leverage and partnership. And I work with people directly inside one of my current companies where we build residual income together. And this doesn't replace what you're doing, it just expands it.
Hmm.
That's another piece of being an entrepreneur. So, whether you use your voice, your network, your leadership, or simply your willingness to grow, this becomes a vehicle, adding another ongoing income stream that can make a difference and give you even more confidence. So if you're ready to level up and expand that, put expand in the chat or just I'll put my contact information in the description below. But before you add anything new, you've got to lock in what shifted today. Your
Hmm.
price is your standard. This is a big one. Your standard becomes your identity. Your identity determines your income. Your identity determines your income. So let's not let's not leave this. as just inspiration, let's turn this into action. So I'd like to challenge you for this week is the next thing you're working on that you're pricing is raise your price. Scary, but raise your
Mhm.
price or offer them a premium offer that reflects your real value. Don't overthink it. Um, go without hesitation, decide and just do it. And see what changes. See what changes. See how that impacts your confidence. And if you're thinking, I need support to actually implement this, good. That's an awesome place to come from, and it's powerful. And my momentum mastery coaching is where we build this together. So your messaging, your pricing, your confidence, your execution, we work on all of that, and we make that transition um, quicker. That's what working with a coach is about. It's shortcutting it, stepping it up. So the next step is now getting seen. So next week on the weekly momentum webinar, we will be working on networking and visibility. So influence with integrity, expanding your reach authentically, because pricing, what we talked about today, is internal, but influence is external, and you need both of those. So let's just take another deep breath, lock this in. So let's raise our
Mm.
arms. Okay, up, out. Excellent. Now, stay with me and repeat after me. I own my value.
I own my value.
I charge with confidence.
I charge with confidence.
I create wealth with purpose.
I create wealth with purpose.
Okay, again, I own my value.
I own my value.
Feel that in your gut.
I
I charge with confidence.
charge with confidence.
I create wealth with purpose. I create wealth with purpose.
I create wealth with purpose.
Excellent. Now, let's make this real for you, your business, your pricing, your next level, and let's go to any questions you might have. Is there anything that you would want to talk about? Like, what's one place in your business right now where you know you're undercharging? You mentioned your time, your value. Uh, is there someplace else that strikes you?
I think, when I look at the structure of what I do, because we're customizing everything and we're, going
Right,
through, I can't, when I see other people talking about scaling their business, I see that they're doing more of a cookie cutter. They're giving,
right,
X, Y, and Z. Here, you buy this off the shelf versus a custom product, which is what we do and 100% of what we do. But I wonder whether, a cookie cutter could work. How do you do that, cookie cutter versus premium? And then of course charge for the premium because
right,
I feel
right.
like I feel like that's what I need to shift to, and that's how we can build and scale and all that.
Well,
Because
let me ask you, Sarah Joy, where have you in your in your past years, um, have you been on a program yourself that you could tell the difference whether it was cookie cutter or not?
yes, yeah. I mean, I know when there's like this is a system, you follow this system, you get the support in a group. There, that's one thing versus targeted full time, anytime that I'm needed for my clients, I drop everything. That's like kind of what we do
Right,
when they're traveling. So
right.
that's a premium product. I know it is.
That is a premium product. That is a premium product. And what I'm curious about is when you are creating a tour plan, a tour program, and you're not planning it as a premium product, are there places that are possible to make it look like it's not cookie cutter, but actually use a cookie cutter? I mean, if you're in large groups, sometimes that's almost impossible, but
Right. But if
Would there be other?
it's planned 6 months to a year out, yes, we can say, you'll have this
Ah,
hotel or this. But so many travelers come last minute that
mm,
that's one of the challenges that we run into, just availability. We can't, if you put a
right,
cookie cutter itinerary together and then there's no availability, you either have to bump them up or
right,
down hotel wise.
right. That's a
Uh,
challenge.
and that's one of, it's just a timing thing.
So I'm curious, like airlines, do you charge more for your tours when uh, um the time between booking and the tour actually is? Do you charge more? I mean, airlines do that. A lot of companies do that. Could that be part of your pricing structure?
I
Like
mean,
book
really,
now,
yeah,
book,
we can lock
yeah,
in a price now. Of course, prices are going to go up. We're going
right,
to have an oil crisis. It's
right,
obvious that we're
right,
already having that. So there's that kind of pricing, I guess, delicate or,
right,
it's going to be felt down the line that things are going to be
right.
more expensive. If you buy now, you lock in the price. Um,
But
Premium
I'm at
versus cookie cutter is what you were
right. So
asking.
yeah, what I'm asking is, so when you they say in the airline industry, if you book, actually it's very interesting. I just read this. If you book 8 or 9 months in advance for an airplane ticket, it's actually more expensive than if you book 2 months in advance.
Hmm.
Uh, However, when you get that sweet spot, 2 months, you get the best price. But beyond that, if it's a month out, it's more expensive. So if clients were to come to you a month out and you're having to do a lot more activity, a lot
Running
more
around.
service,
Hmm.
right, to provide them with the itinerary that they want, is there, uh, um, can you just add that into your price? Is that going to be competitive if you
Hmm.
were to add in that $500 for that itinerary, custom itinerary?
The last minuteness.
Yeah,
I think it, we run the risk because in travel you don't pre-charge. You really only, once they've agreed to something is when you charge.
right,
So you do run the risk of them running away and showing it to somebody else. Oh, I can beat that because I'm not going to add on the $500 and it's already built for
right,
me, like
right.
see
Yeah, right,
you kind of have to watch how much information you give away and you want to give away some value for free, but you
right,
don't want to give away your trade secrets
right,
because
right,
then
right,
somebody else could recreate that very easily and then you'd be left with doing all the work and not getting paid.
right.
So I'm always walking that line, and I would like to figure out how to get paid up front, and I would like to figure out how to get paid earlier. Um,
Right.
and there's a lot of pieces I know I could get better at. So it is
You
interesting.
know, business is fascinating. It brings out all the parts of us that are the best and the worst, and it's just amazing. So I'm going to wrap up right
Yeah,
here, and if you want to talk more about this, I'm available, absolutely.
perfect.
But different businesses, same truth. The moment you stop negotiating your worth, your income rises to meet it, and that's what I was saying earlier about swimming in the right pool. Um, yeah, your client is your client. So, but it would be interesting to have a conversation of how could you raise your, I mean, if you raised your prices without, well, the mechanics of that is important, but not, I don't want you to consider this now, but if you raised your prices even 10% this year, how would that feel to you?
I would worry that I'm pricing myself out.
Okay, so let's not go to that fear. Let's
Yeah,
what
the
I
worry or
want you
fear.
to what I want you to feel is, what would it feel like to raise your prices 10%? The the impact on your personal life, on your professional life,
Mhm.
what would that feel like?
I would feel more secure
It would.
financially.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really keeping a focus on that vision. That is
Hmm.
so important. Just because I'm saying this doesn't make it happen. However, what I have noticed with many of my clients is that when they have a vision and they start implementing it, it's so interesting how it starts happening.
Hmm.
Um, and where they thought they needed to discount their services actually wasn't necessary. That it ended up they might have been undercutting. And if people are happy with your service and your identity is that you provide value, it's some things can be magical. So, so again, Sarah Joy, whoever's watching this on replay, thank you for being here, and have an outstanding rest of your day. Much
You
success.
too, Sarah. Thank
Talk to
you.
you. Thanks.